Alright, today we talk about anvil mechanics and how to anvil or enchant cheaply. Has been lots of ideas going around and they are not wrong, but they are not complete. Like if you have heard about sorting from highest to lowest or about the 2 for 8 method, that's not wrong, it's right. I'm gonna talk about that as well, but it's not a complete story. Also, most people don't know how the anvil mechanics work. Oh, hello. Yeah, I wanted to go into creative, by the way. This is survival. Whoops. Well, I survived. Alright, we move to that location. The anvil. We want to talk about the anvil mechanics. How does it even work? Like, you just use the anvil, you put something here, you put something here, and you get something out here, and it's gonna cost something, but how do you calculate that cost and how do you keep it low? So, first of all, the easy stuff. You can rename items. That's always gonna cost 1 level, plus the anvil use cost of that item. We will talk about that later. Then, you can repair an item. You can either repair it with another item of the same kind. Of course, it would have been like low durability on this. This will always cost 2 levels, plus whatever enchanting stuff happens with the enchantments on this item. We will talk about that later. But this is gonna cost 2 levels, and you get the durability of both combined plus 12%. So you get an extra 12% on top. When you do that in your normal inventory, well, we are in creative right now, that only gives you 5%. Also, it doesn't retain your enchantments. Then you can repair via materials. Each material gives you 25% durability, so you can repair with up to 4 materials. Each material you use costs you 1 level, so it costs up to 4 levels. Of course, you always pay the anvil use cost. Now, the harder part is what happens when I change the enchantment of an item. Let's say we use sharpness. You see, it costs 5 levels. This is sharpness 5. If I use sharpness 1, it costs 1 level. So you can already see the price depends on the level of the enchantment. And to be exact, it is the level of the enchantment times the rarity multiplier. It's a bit complicated. You can have 4 different rarities. It's common, it's uncommon, it's rare, and it's very rare. Oh my god, why is there blood moon? I mean, we are in peaceful, but still. And I already put the multipliers here. So an enchantment with level 5 can only have the cost 5, 10, or 20. So you can always check the base enchantment cost. Let's say that we want to have supreme sharpness. And we don't know the rarity multiplier, it's very rare. We put it on a fresh item, it's gonna cost 20 levels. We know it's very rare, it's always gonna cost 20 levels in all the calculations. Now, why is this 1124? It's kinda weird. Why would common and uncommon have the same multiplier? Well, it's kinda weird. Let's say we find this sword in the wild. It already has sharpness 5 on it. Now what happens when we put this on here? It's also gonna cost 5 levels, but that's because sharpness is common. What happens if we use an uncommon enchantment like, I think Unbreaking? I think Unbreaking is uncommon. Alright, so what's gonna happen if I put this on? We just imagined that there was other stuff, like this operation doesn't make sense, but like if I had already other enchantments on here and I found this and I want to put it on, it's gonna cost 6 levels. But if I put the Unbreaking book, it's gonna only cost 3 levels. That's because when you don't use an enchanted book but an item, it's twice the amount. Only that, like, if you divide 1 by 2, it's still 1. Example is Mortalitas 8 on this weapon, and we want to put it on this weapon. How much is it gonna cost? Think about it. Mortalitas is a very rare enchantment. So on a book it's gonna cost 32 levels. So on this, 64 levels. Yeah. Don't do this. Always put enchantments on your weapon via enchanted book. What happens if we have sharpness 1 on an item and we put sharpness 3 on, or the other way around? And I'm skipping talking about the Anvil use count right now because I first want to talk about this. That's why I enchant via commands. So, what do you guys think? Sharpness 3, sharpness 1. If I put this in here and this in there, like, the resulting level will be sharpness 3. So we pay for sharpness 3, so we pay 3 levels. Now the other way around. We already have sharpness 3. We put in sharpness 1. This doesn't change anything about this. Like, maybe we wanted to add other enchantments on this sword, and this was just like a byproduct. How much do we pay? 3 levels. Usually people say you pay for the enchantments on the right side of the anvil, but it's the more exact thing to say is you pay for the resulting levels that the right side of the anvil provides. So sharpness is changed by the right side of the anvil, so you have to pay for sharpness, and you pay not the level you put on, but the level that results. So yeah, so the same is like when you put like another sword with sharpness 3, the result is sharpness 4, so you pay 4 levels. Now another thing, of course, if you put multiple enchantments on at the same time, it's gonna cost the sum of those base enchantments. And of course, to be more exact, the resulting level on the resulting side that the right side provides, whatever. Like if there's like 2 enchantments on this, then I pay like 3 levels for sharpness and whatever. If there's unbreaking on, then I pay 3 levels for unbreaking for the total of 6 levels. No, in this case, because it's an item, it's 6 levels for unbreaking, so it's 9 levels. But yeah, I hope that is clear. Now, one last thing before we get to the Anvil use count and the actual like optimal anviling. If you have an enchantment that is incompatible, like say Smite, how much is it gonna cost? First of all, Smite is uncommon, so it would cost 6 levels, but we can't put Smite on. We can put Unbreaking on, that's gonna cost 6 levels, we already checked that. How much do we pay for Smite? 1 level. You pay 1 level per incompatible enchantment on the right side. Alright, and the use cost. Let's put an enchantment on this book, on this item. Let's use a fresh item. That doesn't. Nope. Alright, we put Unbreaking on. Now we have used the anvil on this item once. So the anvil use count goes up by 1. But the anvil use cost goes up differently, it goes up exponentially. The first time you have anvil use count 0, anvil use cost of 0. If you use the anvil again, like we already used it once, it's gonna cost 1 level. If you're using it again, it's gonna cost 3, 7, 15, 31, 63, 127, 255, etc. So it's 2 to the power of previous Anvil uses -1. Now, we have two items that both can have Anvil use counts. What happens if you combine two items which both have an Anvil use count? You don't get the sum of the cost or whatever, you get the maximum of the two. So we have used this once. We have used this twice. So the Anvil use count of this is 1, of this is 2, the Anvil use cost of this is 1, the Anvil use cost of this is 3. You can check that by trying to rename the item and like subtracting 1 for the operation of the renaming. So this is 3 and this is 1. So what happens if we combine those two? First of all, fire aspect is rare, I think. Let me check. Yeah, it's rare. So it's a multiplier of 2 on a book, so a multiplier of 4 on an item. So we pay, like if we do this, we definitely pay 5 levels for sharpness and 4 levels for fire aspect, so that's 9 levels. But we also pay the Anvil use costs of both items. So we pay 1 level for the Anvil use cost of this and 3 levels for the Anvil use cost of this. So we pay 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1. So that's 9 plus 3 is... No, wait, fire aspect we pay 8 for because it's on an item. So 5 plus 8 is 13 plus 3 is 16 plus 1 is 17. So again, we pay 5 levels for sharpness, 8 levels for fire aspect, 3 levels for the Anvil use cost of this, 1 level for the Anvil use cost of that. Of course, everybody knows if we do it the other way around, it's cheaper, because you only pay for the stuff on the right side, and this is only 1 enchantment, and it's cheaper. This is only 6 levels, plus the 4 levels for the Anvil use cost is 10 levels. Now, if we combine this, what is gonna be the Anvil uses of this item? This has been used once, twice, this has been used once, and this, well, it's definitely 1 more, but 1 more than 1 or 1 more than 2? Well, it's 1 more than 2, and it doesn't matter in which order we do this. You always take the bigger number of the two, like this has 3, this has 1. So Anvil use cost of 3, Anvil use cost of 1, you take the bigger one and like get the next number of that, so 7. So this, if you're gonna rename this, it's gonna cost 8 levels, because, well, renaming costs 1 level and we have an Anvil use cost of 7. Now, we get to the actual craziness. How should you combine items in an Anvil so that it costs the least amount of XP? You probably heard of the 1, 2, 4, 8 method, and this 1, 2, 4, 8 method builds up on the idea of you take the maximum of the 2 Anvil use counts. You always want to combine 2 items which have the same Anvil use cost. So I want to combine an item which has Anvil use cost of 7 and a book that also has an Anvil use cost of 7, because then I don't waste any space, kind of. So what we want to do is, like, let's get a vanilla sword and make it perfect. No, that's 7 books and an item. And what people do is they combine 2 items. It doesn't matter right now, like, which items. Well, we start with the item, but like, we combine the item with a book, that's 1. And then we combine 2 books, that's 2. And we combine those with this. So, yeah. We combine this, we put this on. So we had 2, and then we combine those 4. And then those. So that's 1, 2, 4, and of course we don't have more enchantments that we can put on a vanilla sword. That's the maximum. So yeah, we can, well, the next step would be putting 8 enchantments on, that we also combine like in pairs, and then in pairs of those pairs, and pairs of those pairs, etc. Yeah. But that's what you do. So always when you combine the anvil, use cost of both items is the same, so you don't waste any space. Alright. Now, the order in which you put this in the 1, 2, 4, 8 method matters. Let me do this again. Alright, we again have all the enchantments. Now watch, like we will put it on in this order. I didn't sort this, I just put it on how it came into my mind. Watch how often this book is gonna be on the right side of the anvil. Till now, 0. 1, 2, 3. For knockback 2, we paid 3 times the base enchantment price. Like every time it's on the right side, we pay the base enchantment price of the item. And that works for each of the enchantments. You can actually track each of the enchantments, how often it is on the right side, and you get to this. I know it's kinda crazy. Let's just check the first row. Like, this is my item, and then those are the enchantments. I've already put on blocks that show like how good this placement is, but we will talk about that in a second. So, a book that is on this space is only get put on once. Like, it's only on the right side of the anvil once, because you directly combine those two, and then it's always gonna be on the item and nothing changes anymore. So you only pay the price of this item once. Same for this, because you combine those two, and then you slap, and then it's on the left side, and then you slap this on the item with this enchantment, and so it's only gonna be on the right side of the anvil once at this operation. This one is gonna be twice on the right side, because we combine those two, and then we combine this on the item. And we can do the same thing, and like we continue, and like the knockback track was this, it's gonna be 3 times on the right side of the anvil. Yeah. Now if we continue 1, 2, 4, 8, then like the next step is gonna be putting 8 enchantments on the right side. It's gonna be 1, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, 4. So this book is gonna be 4 times on the right side of the anvil. We pay 4 times of it. The next 16 didn't fit in here, but like you have never an enchanted item that has 31 enchantments. Like if you had another row, it would go up to 31 enchantments, 32 if we count the item. Wait. But like the maximum you can put on an item in RLCraft is like 24 or something, or 23. I didn't count, like I usually don't go to the max. I usually put on my nunchucks like 19 enchantments. So I would go up to here. So this is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, counting the items, so 19 if you only count the enchantments. Alright, now, people usually say do 1, 2, 4, 8, but put the enchanted books in an order from highest base cost to lowest base cost. So you would put your Supreme Sharpness, your Wound Piercing abilities, your Viper, your Advanced Looting, your Arch Destroyer, your Swifter Slashes, your Education on those bases. And that is not fully wrong. It is definitely a cheaper way than like putting Mending here and Parry here and like all the cheap enchantments on it, directly on it, and more expensive enchantments on the end. But it's not the cheapest way. The cheapest way is to sort them onto the multipliers. And you see, like, I put diamond blocks here because those are your most valuable. I mean, in RLCraft, emeralds are arguably more valuable than diamonds. But those ones, like those multipliers of ones, those like spaces where it's only on the right side of the anvil ones, those are your most valuable spaces. You want to put your most expensive enchantments on those spaces. And you want to put your least expensive enchantments on those spaces. Well, you probably won't use those 4 because, well, only if you like use all enchantments possible on your weapon. Your least expensive goes on the 4, on the 3. Wait, why is this a 4? So your least expensive enchantments go on the 3s. And then the rest just goes on the 2s. That's mostly enchantments like that cost 4 levels or 6 levels or whatever. Usually. We will do some examples in a sec. Now, another thing I didn't talk about yet is upgraded potentials. That's not vanilla anymore. Until now this was all vanilla. Upgraded potentials is an enchantment of so many enchantments. It resets your Anvil use count. And you can even put it on an enchanted book that already has enchantments. So you could put it like, let's say we enchant those 7 enchantments on, well, we put it via the Anvil on this item, and we combine those 8 books, and we could put upgraded potentials on both. And it would reset the Anvil use count. But the next Anvil use count after we put on 7 enchantments on this item is 7. Now if we put on upgraded potentials, that costs us 10 levels to save 7 levels. Which kind of doesn't make sense, but it still makes sense. It's kind of crazy because you put the upgraded potentials separately. Like you do this enchantment, you put on upgraded potentials, that's gonna cost 10 levels exactly, and then the next operation, which will cost a lot, will cost 7 levels less. So it might go from 60 levels to 53, which is a lot of XP saved. Now there's one strat that makes it even cheaper, and you can probably see it already because the blocks are different than here. You can stop the 1, 2, 4, 8 method at the 4. That's way cheaper in XP because you always have to pay the sum of the base enchantment costs. And of course 8 enchantments will cost more than 4 enchantments in levels. Levels scale like slower than XP, so it's kind of quadratic. It's mostly quadratic, so like to get to level 60 is gonna cost 4 times the amount of XP than going to level 30 from 0. And of course, if you don't put on 24 items, enchantments, well 23, but only 20 or 19, you could already put upgraded potentials here, so you don't even pay the 15 levels, you just pay like 3, 7, and then upgrade potentials, and then it's 0, 1, done. Now this was all lots of theory, let's do some practice. Holy shit. Alright, we started with the diamond sword already, so let's do a perfect vanilla diamond sword. Now we go here. I already have that in my mind, but like let's use this. First of all, how much is each enchantment costing? We can check that, but we can also know that Sweeping Edge is gonna cost 6 levels, Unbreaking is 3, Fire Aspect is 4, Looting is 6, Sharpness is 5, Mending is 2, Knockback is 4. I'm gonna show you. So, Sweeping Edge 6, Looting 6, Sharpness 5. I sorted from highest to lowest. 4. Wait, Knockback is 2. Interesting. I didn't know. 3, 2, 2. Alright. Now we have from highest to lowest. And of course we could like put that on in this order. And it wouldn't be that bad. We would pay Sharpness twice. Which we don't have to. If we put Sharpness here, we only have to pay it once. So what we do is we take our most expensive enchantments and put it on the 1 slots. Of course we only go to here because we know how many slots we have, like we have to fill. We ignore the rest. Now, the next is we can either go from the cheapest and like put like a 2 on the 3, or we can just continue, but like at the end now we have a 4, a 3 and a 2, and all go on like 2 blocks. We could say in levels it doesn't change anything, but it can change something in XP, because we will put on those 4 books at the same time, so we pay the sum. So we want to put like the cheapest enchantments on here, so that this 4 book in total costs the least amount. So we put this and this in here and this in here. And if we do that, we can calculate how much it's gonna cost, and we can see how much it's gonna cost. This is an exercise I invite you to calculate with me. So this is gonna cost 6 levels. This is gonna cost 4 levels, because we pay for the 4 levels of the fire aspect and there's no Anvil use cost to consider. This is gonna cost 3 levels. And this is gonna cost 2 levels for the mending. Now, how much is this gonna cost? We pay 6 levels for the looting, 4 levels for the fire aspect is 10, and then we pay 1 level for the Anvil use cost of this, and 1 level of the Anvil use cost of this, so 12. How much is this gonna cost? 2 levels for knockback, 2 levels for mending is 4, 2 levels for the 2 Anvil use count 6. And I swear I didn't prepare this. I'm actually calculating this, and I hope you can calculate this too. So next is 3 levels for the Anvil use count of this, 3 levels of the Anvil use count of this, 6 levels, sharpness 5 is 5 levels, so 11 levels, unbreaking 14 levels, knockback 16 levels, mending 18 levels, so this is gonna cost 18. And you see, the maximum amount we paid is 18 levels for the last combination, which is insanely cheap. And in total, I think, if I have it right, it should be 51 or 53. And I haven't seen any explanation video for Anvil uses that actually got to this lowest count. So if you check Gnembon or Somnatsky or whatever, they explain 248 very well, but they don't get to the optimal combination. Let's do some perfect boots. I'm using advanced mending because it's the more expensive one, but there is an argument to be made that mending is better, especially in 292, because mending has the mending fix now, so it only mends or uses XP to mend if there's actually durability missing, while advanced mending doesn't do that, but mends better, so you get more durability per XP. Alright, that in total is 10 items. So we would go up to here. So we can like ignore everything else. let's do this in our mind. So first of all, how much does each thing cost? This is 12, I think. This is 2. This is 4. This is 6. This is 8. This is 3. This is 16. This is also 16. And this is 4. Oh. I think. Let's check. So that should be 12. No, it's 6. Alright. So it goes through a slide bracket, which is also 6. This is 8. This is 16. This is 16. This is 4. This is 4. This is 3. This is... oh, this is also 4. Alright. Now, like this is sorted from highest to lowest, let's sort it into our good spots. So, the good spots are 1, 1, and then 1. And then we also have those two, so this is the 1. Now, we have used all the 1s. So let's use the 2s. And the 3. So that's 0, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2. So this is the cheapest way. So again, like this is easy. You can try calculating those, like this is easy, this is always just the enchanting cost of those. You can try seeing if you can predict the number, like this and this, how much is this gonna cost? 2 levels for the Anvil use cost, 16 for advanced protection, 6 for lightweight is 24. How much is this gonna cost? 8, 4, 4, 3, so 12, 16, 19, and then 3 for the Anvil use cost of each, so 25. And then this, we have 7 for the Anvil use count of this, 1 of the Anvil use count of this is 8, so, and then high jump is 4, and then water strider is 6, so 10 together, so 18. And those are perfect boots. Now, there's already a video in my YouTube for perfect nunchucks. It's kinda wrong because I use penetration, and penetration shouldn't be used because it cancels some other enchantments, like it's kinda broken. And I didn't use subject PE because I don't like it. And other people would say I should use subject PE, and of course there's other people who use like knockback or flinging or whatever. Lots of other things, like you can always change enchantments or use other enchantments, or like I'm using clear skies, other people don't like clear skies. Of course there's like lots of different things. But if you use this enchantment method, and I hope it's not too complicated, then you will see it's way cheaper. In 292 we can't use education with looting, we have to use adapt. I found something out, I will probably make a new video about it, but just telling you, Ash Destroyer doubles your output damage. So like the total damage you calculate with everything, with strengths, with sinful, with whatever, and all the enchantments, is doubled by Ash Destroyer if the enemy is on fire. And you would think, ice Dragonbone weapons don't put the enemies on fire, but for the calculation of the damage, they put them on fire, if you have Supreme Fire aspect. So it doubles the damage even though the enemies are not really on fire. And at the same time, if you use the flamed weapon, they are put on fire after the calculation of Ash Destroyer. So the first hit, they don't get double damage, only on the second hit when they are already on fire, they get double damage. So it's better to use this. Even though, of course, the combination of this cancels the iced effect of the ice dragon bone nunchucks, so they are not put in ice. Alright, so how many how many items do we have? We have 18, 20. So 19 enchantments plus 1 item. So we go in this up to this spot. So we can ignore those 4. Now, what are our most expensive enchantments? Supreme Sharpness is 20, Advanced Looting is 12, Ash Destroyer is 10, Supreme Fire Aspect is 8, that's 16, Axe Slash is 12, Clear Skies is 12, no. Wait, where's Swiftest Nourishes? There. That's also 20. So, item is here. Then 20, 20, 16, 12, 12, 12. Putting the upgrade potentials here because we're putting it on at this spot. Ash Destroyer. Alright, we don't have any 1 spot left, we only have 2 spots left. Let's put Ash Destroyer here. Now the rest, like this is 8 levels. Oh wait, that's 10 levels. 8 levels, so 4, 4, no, this is 2. This is 6. This is 4, this is 6. This is 3. This is 4. This is 6, this is 4, this is 4. Alright, and then 3, 2. So first of all we want to put our most expensive ones on 2, but we don't want to put it on the same book because those we will pay for those like at the same time, so we put 1 here and 1 here. Like we always do it in like blocks of 4 because we use upgrade potentials. Of course, if we wouldn't use upgrade potentials, then you would want to put it as early as possible. So you want to put it on here because this 8 book is gonna be the most expensive operation and you want to keep the total cost of that operation low. Alright, now we put all the 6s on the rest 2s. So here, here, and here, why not? And then we can already put like the cheapest enchantments on some 3s, like here and here. And then the rest just goes on the rest spots. And let's do this. You can check if I do it cheaper than you. This is definitely not extremely much cheaper than like normal versions of enchanting, but like just using like highest to lowest, but it is definitely cheaper. And if you know what you're doing, you can like, well, you can make it optimal, and of course that's important. Especially on stuff like hardcore config or whatever, where you really have to take care to keep XP costs low. Now let's combine all the 4 books. And yeah, again, I invite you to calculate, like pause the video and calculate how much this should cost before I actually do this. Alright, now we combine those 2 to get 7 enchantments. This is 41 levels. Of course, this is gonna be expensive, but we have tried our best to like keep this low. Now, usually you would combine those 2 and then combine this with this item, but we have upgrade potentials. Right now, the Anvil use count should be 7. if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So if we would put on this, it's costing 38 levels. And if we put this on at 36 levels, and if we put this on 34 levels. If we put on upgraded potentials now, then this is not like, it costs us 10 levels, and this is gonna cost 7 levels less. So 31 levels. We could argue that 38 is still okay. But the next thing is gonna cost more. So I think, I'm not sure which one is the cheaper one. I would assume that if you put it on now, then we have to do 1, 2, 3 combinations. So this is gonna cost 0 for the item, and then 1 for, and then 3. So yeah, that works. Let's put out an upgraded potentials now. 31, as I said. And then this is 36. And this is 42. And you see, the most expensive enchantment I did here was 42. And the other one was 41. So this is extremely cheap. Yeah. So, I hope that helped you. I hope you learned something. I hope I could like explain that a good way. I tried my best. I'm thinking about making this video for a long time already. And I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna be like fully happy with it. I feel like I was a bit hasty, and like I could have made some graphics to explain everything. I thought like it's easier to do it in Minecraft itself. I don't know. I definitely encourage you to like try stuff out in creative and see like how much is like different orders, how much do they cost, like how much do you pay in total in levels and in XP. And like, I don't know. I definitely challenge you to find a better way, like a cheaper way XP wise, to enchant the vanilla sword, and to check other videos like Nembon's video or some nuts guy's video and see what they did wrong to feel superior and like a better human. And like that helps learning, like when you spot the errors you did before and spot the errors of others, you can definitely learn better. I can definitely encourage you to do that, not just to feel superior, even though that obviously is also a great idea. Yeah, whatever. Thanks for watching. Check me out on Twitch if I'm live, I don't know. I'm probably gonna start a new playthrough in 292 when it comes out very soon. We'll see. Goodbye.